Jake, thank you so much for coming on the show.
My pleasure. Thank you, Jamie.
Jake, and before we get started, will you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. I was in a touring band based out of Canada called Farmer's Daughter, and we were on the road about 270 days out of the year. I remember our manager, who was also my father, it was a female country trio. And my father would always say, Sarah in the Bible was 88. You got lots of time. Well, wasn't so funny after 45, 46. I had come to the conclusion in my life that there's more than one right way to get through this life. I just accepted that I was going to be the fun aunt that did not have children of her own. I was okay with that until the love story of my life came back around. So my husband I met 38 years prior in a gospel band, and we stayed in contact, and he went on to have fame in the EDM world. I was doing my own thing in the country music world, and our lives reconvened. And that love story is what made us both say, what feels right now is to have a family. For me, it was less about becoming a mother. Like a girlfriend of mine, she always knew she was meant to be a mother, whether she was in a relationship or not. That wasn't my experience until it became about the two of us together. Mm-hmm. And then began the journey of figuring out how that was going to happen.
Let's get to the part where y'all are trying to figure out how to have a baby together.
So when we started this conversation, Christopher was the one who initiated. He said, I don't know if this is something that you would even consider, but I want to have a baby. I want to leave a legacy, and I don't want to do this with anyone but you. And when he said that, I was already in my late 40s, and I just kind of looked at him and I went, well, that's so sweet. So we'll find a surrogate and we'll get some egg donors. And he said, no, I really want you to carry this baby. And I honestly, I didn't know it was possible. Like I put it aside to the point where I didn't even think that that was a possibility for me. So when he suggested it, I started doing a little research. I thought, okay, you know what? I'm open to this. If this is possible. I was in great shape at the time. I was eating well. I was working out, meditating. And I thought, okay, maybe I can do this. So I started doing a little research, and we found a company in New York City. It didn't end up being a fit. And this was one of the things that I learned through this whole journey is figure outable. Everything is up for discussion. Just because you've gone down a road with someone who's incredibly reputable, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a fit for you. And you are able to say, this doesn't feel right. So I want to be able to feel great about decisions. We started looking into who really specialized in geriatric pregnancies, which is one of my least favorite words, but hey, it's the one that people are using. We initially started down this path with one doctor and ended up shifting to a whole another facility. My husband lived in Manhattan for quite some time, and we found a doctor we absolutely loved. He came very highly recommended and had great results with people my age. This was definitely our home. In Atlanta, Georgia, a group in Atlanta did all our blood work and what have you with, but when we went for our transfers, we ended up going to New York. I left Toronto, left my job, moved down to Georgia, and began researching the fertility journey that we were on at that point, that we were not going to experiment with eggs in my body. We made the decision right out of the gate that we wanted to have an egg donor. Mm-hmm. We were thinking about what kind of an experience we wanted to have. We were concerned, because I was at such an advanced age, that it would be a safer experience all the way around if we used an egg donor. So we decided to go down that path.
And I'm curious about the conversations you had with the fertility doctor kind of in the beginning about his concerns and what the reaction was.
They were very frank. And they said, you have about a 5% chance of this working for you.
5?
We just thought we were going to march in there. We were going to pay our money. I was going to take my shots and we were going to have a baby. Boom.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, that is not what happened at all. We walked out of that office and I felt devastated and like, oh man, this isn't what I expected. And my husband was like, yay, it's 5%, it's not zero. We had a long discussion and we decided that we were not going to let anything get in our way. Both of us were really delving at that time into a lot of mindset, a lot of manifestation work. Both of us were into the thinking into results with Bob Proctor. It's an amazing program. And it's all about mindset. It's all about how to manifest the laws of the universe and energy and all of that stuff. So we just said, you know what? We are going to go for this. We believe we would be amazing parents and we love each other. We were so gung ho in the beginning. You don't know what you don't know.
Yes.
That energy is like, wait, nothing's going to get in our way. And it was interesting because everyone wants to tell you their horror stories.
Yeah.
And I am living proof, and my 6-year-old incredibly healthy daughter is living proof that everyone else's experience is not yours.
That's right.
And it's vital that you bear that in mind at every turn. You put on the earmuffs and you go la 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 la. That's what you do.
Yeah.
Because when you have blinders on, it's amazing what can happen for you.
Yeah. And what was your experience like selecting an egg donor?
There was a huge egg donor bank within the Langone Fertility Center. And initially, we just put all our information into the computer, all of my stats, basically. We were going to try and clone me. And the donors would pop up, but nothing felt right. I was like, no. So I suggested to my husband, my niece, who I was very close with, my brother's daughter. He was like, oh, no, too weird. Christmas is going to be a freak show. We can't do this. And that didn't sit well with me. At first, I'm like, okay, well, if you're not comfortable with it, I get it. My competitive spirit came in and I'm like, well, you know what? Yes, I want to carry the baby, but now that you got me wound into this whole idea, and I'm like, yes, I want some DNA involved if we can. So he sat with it for a while and he said, well, look, before we even go to her, let's talk to Kim. That's my brother's name, Kim and Jake, of course. And, all right. We talked to them and they have no reservations. Then we'll approach Savannah. And we knew that if everyone wasn't on board, it wouldn't feel right. And everyone had to be involved. Like this was not going to be something that we were going to do, quietly or without talking to everyone in the family, So we called my brother and sister-in-law. It was a video chat. And we said, this is what we're thinking, but we won't go forward with it if you guys aren't on board. And they were like, are you kidding? This is the most amazing news. So we called Savannah. And before it was even completely out of my mouth, she was like, yes. So she moved from Vancouver to stay with us in Georgia. And we began prepping and wanted to have her with us during the whole thing. So it ended up being probably one of the most amazing experiences. We would all fly together to New York for all of the appointments. And we were there during Fashion Week. And she's like this little fashionista. She was thrilled with all of it.
How old was she?
She was 25 at the time.
Okay.
Yeah. And matter of fact, it was amazing. When we went in to have her egg retrieval, we were expecting around 10 eggs. It was like, I guess is the average. She ended up getting like 17 eggs. They called her the golden goose. And we had testing done. We ended up with 7 embryos out of the whole batch, which was amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah. The experience then ramped up for me because not only is it my family that I know our history and we know generations back, but then to know it was especially her being so close. Like it's not just an egg donor, it's not just a family member. Savannah used to take on tour with me and stuff like that. So it was really a beautiful experience.
Yeah, I bet your bond is just stronger than ever.
Oh my gosh. And I'm so grateful for the genetic link. I know that it would have been beautiful anyway, that we
Mhm.
would have sliced it. But for me and for my family, this was the right choice. It has brought all of us such incredible joy. And to see the genetic links in Avalon, that's the name of my daughter. Like when she runs, this one arm is kind of straight down, the other one pumps up and down. The first time she did that, my brother and sister-in-law and I looked at each other and just went, oh my gosh, that's exactly the way Savannah ran. It's just like little
Yeah.
things like that are just like double heartwarming.
Yeah, because you watched her grow up as Savannah, and now you see her in your daughter. That's
Yeah, and
beautiful.
one of the videos of Farmer's Daughter is called Family Love. Savannah was in that video at 5 years old. And I just look back and I see her in these videos, to see her at that age and think, oh my gosh, she's carrying my daughter. Like mind blowing.
So cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so now we're at the transfer. Was the first one successful? How did it go?
No, like never even occurred to us that the first transfer wouldn't be our baby. We were
Mhm.
thinking like, what are we going to do with all these children? Like we're going to have a baseball team and we were just going to have all of them. We go through the first transfer and it is an unsuccessful transfer. The nurse, I just love this woman to this day, but I think it was harder on her to deliver the news that it was a failed transfer. She's like, oh, hi, Jake. I don't have it. I ended up consoling her at the end of the conversation. It's like, you know what? We're going to try again. It's going to be okay. So the first one was a failed transfer. The second one was a positive pregnancy. And we
Mhm.
miscarried at about 8 weeks.
Was this your first miscarriage?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And then failed transfer, failed transfer, failed transfer. That's 5. And Avalon was number 6.
Oh,
So they give you the paper that has the photograph of the embryo, and it was one thawed embryo, 7 remaining,
mhm.
one thawed embryo, 6 remaining, one thawed embryo, 5 in every photo that they gave. And at first it's like, oh, we've got 6 left, we're fine. Then it's like, we've got 5 left. So when it came to Avalon, and I've got this photo of her holding the picture of her embryo, and it was like seeing the one thaw transfer, 1 left.
Mhm.
All of a sudden, obviously the emotions shift, and it's like that desperation of the sky.
Yeah.
The failed transfers for me were equally as emotionally painful as the miscarriage.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it was really, really interesting. Towards the last transfer, they called it an unexplained situation because everything was in line.
Mhm.
It didn't make sense that it wasn't working.
Mm.
We had the most amazing integrative doctor, Dr. Kim. I mean, this man did research on Dr. Licciardi, who was our endocrinologist in New York. He researched how he worked, what he did, his, papers that he wrote, his, and based on that, our integrative doctor made choices to supplement our health and the kind of acupuncture. He was Western medicine, but he also did a lot of Chinese medicine. There was a lot of mind
Mhm.
body stuff that was going on at the time. And I believe with all my heart that it was the supplementation of these mind body practices, along with the Chinese medicine, along with the acupuncture that kept the energy and the chi flowing, that allowed me at 51 to give birth to my first baby.
It's
Which
so
I'm
amazing.
telling you right now, Jamie, like if anyone would have told me 10 years ago, I would have told them they were cracker doodles because not only did I not know it was pregnant, but I couldn't even believe it.
So how was it getting that positive pregnancy test?
Avalon number 6.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
weird. We go to New York and Dr. Kim, every single time it's like, okay, we're not just going to do the same thing over and over and over again. We're going to, every single time it's like we do all the things, but then we add something to it. And this time he said, don't fly. Because I'd fly there. We would stay for several days after the transfer just to let everything settle.
Sure.
Then we'd get on a plane and come home. And he said, this time I really don't want you to fly home. Cabin pressure is no joke. Let's do something different. Chris was on tour at the time. So my mother flew from Canada. We've had an amazing week. And my mother-in-law said too, she said, you know what, just eat ice cream while you're there. Just anything, basically, she's saying anything to bring you pleasure and happiness and release the endorphins.
Yeah, relaxing.
And then we took the train home from New York City to Atlanta, Georgia. And it was so much fun. Like we got this little cabin, but it was, it's like, this is the thing that we're going to do different this time. And all the while I was doing what's called autosuggestion and future journaling. And this is like the mindset segment of what I did. If you would see my journals that I have, it's like Jack Nicholson in The Shining when he was just writing the same thing over and over and over again. I have journals of, I am so happy and grateful now that I've given birth to our healthy full-term baby. Over and over, every morning, every night. And then the future journaling, do you know anything about future journaling?
No, tell us.
So future journaling is when you write as if you are living with your goal achieved. So I would write out, it's 5:30 in the morning. It's the day of our blood test. The transfer was whatever, 9 days prior. It's the day of our blood test. I get up and everything, sights, sounds, smells, what fragrance I put on, what clothes I put on, the alarm goes off. We're driving to get the blood test. I would write about the interactions with, our girls at the office who we'd become very dear friends with, and write what they would say to Chris, teasing him about, the fact that he'd get so dressed up to go to these things at like 7 o'clock in the morning. It's my husband. And just like write everything to the detail. Then we go and have breakfast afterwards. And then the phone rings. And on the other end of the phone is the nurse. And she says, I have great news. Congratulations. The pregnancy test is positive. And I write about our embrace and how happy we were. I would future journal every day along with my, I'm so happy and grateful. You can say what you want. We'll never have proof that that was what worked or that was what, but it was my beliefs. And I think this is the most important thing that I learned through all of this, is that your belief system or your limiting beliefs have a direct result on your results.
They do.
In general. And I believe that across the board in my whole life, in everything that I deal with. So I love it. I believe in it. I think it's really powerful stuff. And the day that we got, Jamie, nothing ever works out the way, like even my wonderful future journaling, that's not how it happened, but it did plant the seeds of the, of the positive end result, right? So we kind of realized that if we were going to get a positive result, the one positive result we got, it came in the morning, and then all the other calls came in the afternoon. So we got our test done. We went to I think it was at SCAD-FASH. It was like this beautiful display of a really famous designer's work. We just wanted to go somewhere where things were beautiful and we were distracted. So we went and we're waiting, looking at the watch. The call didn't come, and it didn't come, and it didn't come. It was 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We're just like, okay, it's going to be negative. And the nurse called and said, did you get your blood done today? And we're like, oh my gosh, like, are you kidding me right now? And I said, yes, at 7 o'clock this morning. She goes, well, we can't find it. So they go back, we're holding our breath. She calls back in an hour and says, you got a positive test? And we hung up and we just stared at each other blankly. Like, I think we were so emotionally invested that there was just, it was almost like there was no emotion there, which I know sounds so strange after 6 transfers, but I think sometimes you can be so emotionally exhausted that even the good news is just like flatline. Now, the next day, when we kind of came out of the shock, of course we were elated, and then the next journey began. And the next journey for me was that I actually bled for my entire first trimester.
Oh my gosh.
For anyone out there who has had a miscarriage, you know that even the tiniest, slightest hint of blood is just like this. It's like it's something that just runs through your whole body right up to your head, but every day. And so again, I had to find ways to ground myself, to center. And I literally lived on, again, with the Dr. Kim. He introduced me to some incredible guided meditations. And there were days when I would listen to these meditations like 2 and 3 and 4 times. Like I would just lay down, put the headphones on, and go through the energy chakras and the positive, and just these beautiful soothing voices that would literally get my heart rate to a point where I could breathe and be okay with whatever was going to happen and trust that process. Because in my state, with all the hormones and all those, I didn't feel capable of grounding myself. Like my emotions were so on the edge. And these are the things for me that brought me back to a state of going, okay, I feel that calm in my heart and my body, and I feel okay with whatever is happening for me.
Why were you bleeding?
For me, because of my age, we really had to pump up the lining of my uterus. And it was apparently, again, this is something that I learned, it is not uncommon. And the lining part of it just had to come out. And once we got through the first trimester, it just stopped.
Like magic.
It just stopped. And I had a very beautiful pregnancy after that. But that first trimester was really cuckoo. That was really a lot, because like I said, there was at least a little bit of something almost every day.
Wow.
Yeah. And I can't say enough about building your village and having your support system around you. Oh, I wanted to tell you also, having different specialists who are supporting one another is really a beautiful thing too. Dr. Kim was our touchstone, and my husband went for acupuncture too. And this was something that Dr. Kim said from the very beginning. He's like, we treat the female, we treat the female, we treat the female like she's doing this on her own. Yes, the baby lives in our body, but he treated my husband. He gave my husband acupuncture every time he gave me acupuncture, because it's energy. I would love for him to be a voice in this for husbands, because I think a lot of times they feel very separated and very left out of the process and helpless because their job is very momentary. So him actually being involved in having treatment done as well, it really brought us together. When I was pregnant with Avalon, they were watching the levels at the very beginning. They want those levels to jump. You want those levels to jump in large increments. And one of my blood tests in the beginning of my first trimester was up around 9,000 something. I got a call from our people in New York, and they said, we're a little concerned. Lower. No, it was a little lower. It was a little lower than they wanted. They were hoping from the last one that it would be up around 10,000. And so they said, we'd like you to come back in tomorrow morning, do another blood test, and hopefully it'll be a little higher. So I called Dr. Kim immediately, and I'm hysterical. And I said, come on out. I've been wanting to do this acupuncture approach that I learned from so and so in China. Like he would go and study with these people. I know it sounds like I'm making this stuff up, but he did this specific protocol on my body. And the next morning I went in for the test. They called me and said, Jake, we don't know what happened overnight, but you're up at like 14,000 today. And we're not really sure what to attribute that to, but congratulations. Everything looks great. Call Dr. Kim. And I'm like, can you believe it? And he goes, well, of course. What do you think we're doing? I love this man for his ego and confidence and willingness to try everything.
Yes.
I made an agreement with myself. Anything that was asked of me that I researched and I was on board with, I was like, I'm going to say yes, even if it sounds cuckoo. Like the mind body woman, I speak about this in the book. She had me initially write a letter to my body like it was a separate entity.
Mm-hmm.
And when she told me what I was supposed to do as my homework assignment, I kind of went, okay, that sounds a little woo-woo for me. But hey, in the interest of trying everything, I'm going to go home and do this.
Mm-hmm.
So I went home, and you start out by saying, thank you for everything that you've always been there for me. I want to thank you for everything that you've done for me. I want to ask forgiveness for everything that I've done to you without permission. All those late nights and bad food and maybe overindulging in the alcoholic beverages from time. Make a list of everything that you may have done to your body that was not the kindest. Mm-hmm. Fad diets, whatever. And then ask permission. Will you go on this journey with me? And by the end of writing this letter, like I am sobbing. It was an incredible experience. And that support from the integrative side, along with our endocrinologists that were full on Western medicine kind of thing, it was a beautiful mix of all of that kind of kept us grounded through the whole thing.
I love that. And at what point did you go to your regular local OB, if that's the doctor you chose?
Yes. When we got the positive pregnancy test is when I found my OB.
Okay.
Yeah. We had a recommendation, which is always great, but it ended up being such an incredible practice of 7 female OBs. And we got to see each one of them so that when you go into labor, you're not meeting a stranger.
And you said you had a really good pregnancy. Tell us a little bit more about your pregnancy.
Okay. So once the first trimester was over and I was pretty nauseated, never threw up, but it was just like all day long, I felt like I was on the verge. The minute the first trimester was over, it just seemed like that lifted. I've always been into a yoga practice, but I found this beautiful Kundalini pregnancy yoga practice that I did every day. Mm-hmm. And right up until they admitted me into the hospital. And a lot of that was breathing and really kept my morale up, but it was also a really gentle, form of exercise through the whole pregnancy. Oh, this was something that was funny though, because I'm a bit of I like the outside of the grocery store. Even when we were talking about the possibility of a surrogate, I'm like, Chris, I just don't know. Like, what is she going to eat when she's not around us? How can we know? We cook really beautiful food in our home. And there were a couple of months there where it was just like, I cut off traffic to get across 2 lanes to get into the lineup at Taco Bell. It's all I wanted.
Oh,
Taco Bell, Burrito Supreme. I mean, Christopher's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I have no idea, but I need it. That didn't last for long, but it's just like there were a couple of things. And then for the bulk of my pregnancy, though, shawarma and ramen. I had 2 cravings and kind of lived on that. But yeah, I also experienced gestational diabetes, which that was an interesting experience too. I went to see the dietitian and she gave me some really incredible advice. And honestly, by the next day, and I'm not even exaggerating, of rearranging what I was eating, we were able to control the whole situation without going down the path of medication. No shade if that's the path you're taking,
Sure.
because we do, again, I say this with all confidence, we do whatever we have to do to move things forward
Yeah.
and keep things stable. So if medication is what is required for your situation, all hail medication.
Yeah.
For me, it was about eating the wrong things first thing in the day, not having enough carbohydrate to balance out, the protein and the fruit that I was, and the blood sugar situation, would spike. So in the mornings I'd start with a smoothie and my blood sugar would spike. So I started waking up and having, protein first thing in the morning. And it literally, everything just went reboot. And of course I had to test my blood after every meal for the rest of the pregnancy. Hey, small price to pay. Sometimes it would creep up a little bit, but for the most part, we were able to control it just by being mindful of when, how often, not letting myself get too hungry, and starting out the day with a higher protein level. But yeah,
that's really great. Now, when you were looking for that doctor, was there anything important to you that you were looking for?
No, I really was not. A girlfriend of mine who had 2 children just highly recommended this practice. She said they're just, it's a beautiful hospital that they're working out of, and they are so attentive. And she just had such an incredible experience with them that I just said, okay, I trust you. And that was my introduction to who ended up Dr. Ribka, who ended up being our OB.
Okay. And what about the gender? Did you find that out during birth?
We found that out during the testing of the embryos.
That's right.
Yeah.
So you knew it was a girl from the beginning.
We had like 3 boys and 4 girls. And so it was like, I think we'll try a boy this time. I think we'll Doesn't that just sound bonkers?
Hey, if that's what you have available, I mean, you might as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
No gender reveal necessary.
Nope.
And was there any product that you couldn't live without that you would recommend that helped you?
Back to the yoga, that was really, honestly, that was my lifeline. But I did live for the body pillow. Absolutely. And we have this bed. We joke about it because it looks like a giant hospital bed. It's one of those Tempur-Pedics that you can raise the bottom up, you can raise the top up. Towards the end, my feet did get really swollen. And so that bed where we could lift the bottom of it up was just like, I lived in that bed with the feet up. Yeah, for sure. And ginger, I ate a lot of ginger. I had incredible heartburn towards the end. I found that ginger tea, even sometimes like candied ginger, although I went real easy on that just because of the sugar content, but ginger was really soothing to me.
And how did you prepare for your baby?
It's funny because we didn't start with the nursery or anything like that. I think there was something in our minds. When you've been through 5 transfers, yes, I'm grateful. Yes, I'm all in. Yes, I believe, but I'm just going to ride it out as it comes, Then 1 month before her due date, we went in and my blood pressure was off the charts. So they admitted me immediately, which was very upsetting because we had this ritual of going to our favorite restaurant, Houston's, for lunch right after my appointments. When they decided to admit me, I'm like, okay, so when am I going to be like out? And the doctor at that point said, when you have the baby. And I was like, no, that is not the plan. We were 36 weeks at that point. My blood pressure was just off the charts, and they admitted me. They found protein in my urine. We found out that I was experiencing preeclampsia at that point. I was just sure that she was not baked, not ready to come out. I was like, no. Our Dr. Ribka came in and she said, look, healthy baby, healthy you, it's time. We decided to induce. First thing in the morning, we induced, and I was in labor till about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And what we experienced was that with every contraction, Avalon's heartbeat was plummeting, and it was not coming back up as quickly as they would like. And it was actually starting to take longer to get her heart rate up to the point where they felt comfortable. At one point, they said, we're going to call this. Now, you can decide to induce again tomorrow, but we cannot guarantee that she's going to have a better response. Matter of fact, it's possible that she could have more of a traumatic response. And then we're doing an emergency C-section. So our doula is there and we're conferring. And I really expected our doula to push a little bit further as far as no surgery, no surgery. But she looked at me and she said, Jake, as it stands, you've got monitors, you're not walking around the room. It's already, we're already edging away from a natural childbirth anyway. And she said, I feel like you're really getting great medical advice. And I'm not going to push against this. So Dr. Rebecca came back in and she said, so what did you decide? And we said, we're going to go ahead now with the C-section. They prepped. We chose a little Oscar Peterson playing in the background. It felt like cocktail hour, but not really. It was the most peaceful, beautiful birth. It's so funny because in my mind leading up to it, I left room for what I planned, the exercise ball, the candles, all of that. And here we were in the OR. And when it was all said and done, it's like any way that it ends up rolling out for you it can be so beautiful. Like I never imagined a C-section being beautiful, but it was incredible. They brought her out and we got to see her. And then Chris went along with Avalon for all the cleanup and they took care of me. I was in the recovery room and this was something that I hadn't known about, but my body began to just shake to the point of almost feeling like it was convulsing. And they brought that little baby in and set her on my chest. And it was just like, unbelievable.
Wow.
And then they took her again to weigh her and my body started doing that thing again. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Like it was so cuckoo. And they brought her back over and they put her on my chest and my whole body is just stopped. The body is ridiculously amazing. A lot of people will talk about what that is when the body's removed by C-section. Your body's brain is going, wait a minute, where's the baby? It's like it goes into a type of shock. But when that baby is placed on your chest again, it all stops.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And was there anything else during the birth? Were you able to prolong the cord clamping or skin on skin? Was any of that important?
It was very important. Oh, see, there was something else on my beautiful pink cardstock that ended up going the way we wanted. The nurses take that thing and they kind of roll their eyes. Yes, we'll make sure and follow each one of these 500 instructions that you've left for us here.
That's so me.
Right? And hey, you know what? It's okay. You get that cardstock and you let them know what you want. At least it's out there. So we were able to do that. And we also had arranged for the placenta.
Encapsulate?
Well, actually, this company did smoothies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But
so they froze them? Or was it fresh?
Fresh, yeah.
Okay.
But we didn't end up doing that either because of the preeclampsia. It was the lining was compromised.
Oh.
So that didn't happen.
Okay.
Yeah. But the breastfeeding was the next thing for us because that was something that was really important to me and to Christopher as well. And the verdict was out. A lot of some of the people in the practice were like, you can try, but your age may play a part in that not being a part of your experience. And that was another day when I was like, no, that is not the way it's going to happen for me. It's going to happen like this. And I have to chuckle. But I think that in some circumstances, it definitely, when you decide that something is incredibly important to you and you really focus on it, quite often that your thoughts become your reality. And for me, that was something. And even Dr. Kim was saying, look, you do whatever you have to do to keep your baby alive, period. Mm-hmm. If it's formula, you find the formula that you feel the best about and you go for it. Mm-hmm. If it's breastfeeding, great. But whatever you have to do to keep your baby healthy and alive, that's what you do. And that's the right thing. Mm-hmm. I think I've said that probably several times in this conversation that we've had, but no judgment, open heart, open mind, and whatever you have to do is the right thing. Mm-hmm. Luckily for us in our experience, Avalon latched on right away. You see people in the movies and it's like it just happens so naturally, and you're the mother and this is the baby and then you're breastfeeding and that's that. It didn't feel natural or comfortable right away. It's like I was trying to hold her and it's so. Along with our doula package, we had a lactation specialist who came to our home. She showed me a few little adjustments in like the football hold where initially when she was really tiny, she was only 5 pounds, 10 ounces, 1 month early, to put her under my arm like a football and hold her with her feet going back through my arms. And it was just like, oh my gosh, like here I am wrestling with this little ball of no muscle tone and I just couldn't make it feel comfortable. She walks into our house and says, try this. And she's like this gentle little hippie flower. I loved her. And just was able to show me 2 or 3 little tricks that changed everything. And then from that time on, I breastfed for a year.
Impressive. You showed them.
Right.
I love that.
Oh.
I think sometimes you need that mindset of just determination to really do things.
100%. I mean, I stake my life on it. I really do. Mm-hmm. We did not give up on any front. Yeah. And it was exhausting and it was gut-wrenching and it was painful and it was exciting and it was fun and it was exhilarating. And at the end, to see that little face, I've never seen my husband cry. I've never seen anyone cry so much in my life as when this baby came out.
How sweet. And tell us about your recovery.
So my recovery, what I noticed, first of all, my surgeon was brilliant. And I'm not kidding you. Like, I know that like my girlfriend had a really bad experience with scarring and what have you. Mm-hmm. I was very lucky, minimal scarring. And, I don't know if I've blocked it out at this point, but I don't remember being in a whole horrible like pain that wasn't manageable with the incision. The constipation after was my biggest challenge. And so yeah, I mean, all the medication going through your body and what have you, and then trying to go with the incision, that was probably my biggest challenge. But really, honestly, it was nothing was unbearable. I was able to walk around. It was a fairly decent recovery. I mean, it's still surgery. So, there's the exhaustion, obviously. And then with Avalon, she was a month early. She was 5 pounds, 10 ounces. And so we needed to wake up every 3 hours to feed her to make sure that she was, getting sustenance.
Were you able to pump? Is that how he
Yes.
kind of helped out?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And there is a tea called Mother's Milk. We got it at Whole Foods in the tea section.
Mm-hmm.
And it's to encourage lactation. So on the days when I felt like, I'd pump and there wasn't a lot there, I would have some of this tea, and the next day it would flow. Like it really worked like a charm.
Yeah, it is called mother's milk.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's good. It's nice to drink, but it really does work.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And then I know this is not for everyone, but one of my friends who's like a mom back in the 60s, she said, if you ever find that you're not producing milk, just have a Guinness.
A beer.
I know, a Guinness beer, the dark beer. It's got a very low alcohol content, but I swear, again, like every once in a while, it's like, okay, things are slowing down. And so I would have a beer, and then like the next morning, it's just like, okay, this is crazy. Like, what is it about the Guinness stout dark beer that helps you produce?
Interesting.
During the pregnancy, I took no chances. Like some people are like, oh, you have a glass of wine here or there. It's going to be okay. And I'm sure it is. I just didn't have the desire. Like some things were appealing. I missed sushi while I was pregnant, but I did not it didn't crave it when I saw other people drinking. It wasn't like, oh, I wish I could have a glass of wine. For some reason, that the craving, or even the thought that sounded good. I do enjoy a glass of red wine, but it was not on my radar during my whole entire pregnancy. And then obviously during nursing, it wasn't a big drink fest for me there either. But every once in a while, I did have that Guinness, and I'm telling you, between that and the mother's milk tea, it was pretty incredible.
That's a new one to me. This Guinness drinking.
And is it a wives' tale? I don't know. She's one of those moms who's like, oh yeah, it works like a charm. I'm like, okay. Never heard anyone say that before, but well, I'm open.
Yeah. And mentally, how were you?
Yeah. So there was a time where it's hard to explain. There is an emptiness. Well, duh. I mean, I guess it's not so hard to explain. You live with this creature inside your body for a certain amount of time, and they are sharing everything good inside you, every nutrient, every vitamin, everything. And then all of a sudden they abscond with all the goodness out of your body. You're no longer sharing. And there is a sense of depletion. I felt that physically, and I felt that emotionally. And it was like this weird, I couldn't have been happier. But some days there was just this weird, empty thing. And I went directly into menopause. Like, boom. The doctor will say, hey, it's not such a bad thing, because a lot of the symptoms of postpartum and menopause are the same. So you're kind of like hammering them both out. I felt a major ache, like my hands, my feet, my joints. And again, I thought to myself, is this because I'm, 51, or is this? And then I joined some groups of, young moms who were like, yeah, I'm having the same thing. Same thing's happening to me. So it was, that was interesting to know that my body was doing exactly what theirs was doing. And we had a really fun rapport. I went to it was called Baby Boot Camp in one of the beautiful parks in Atlanta. And I thought, oh, this is going to be a nice way to get out and meet some other moms and take the stroller and take the baby and do this. Listen, when I tell you, it was like, take the baby out and do lunges while you're pressing the baby up, and I'm just like, and I thought to myself, I'm so competitive. I'm like, these girls are like 25, 30 years old. I'm like, I'm not going to be the last one in the line. I would have like died out there pushing myself to keep up. There was a little group of us that used to hang out, and I'll never forget the one day we had to go around the circle and tell how old your name, your baby's name, how old you were, and how old your baby was. My name is Catherine, and this is my daughter Apple, and I'm 25 and she's 3 months old. And it got to me and I'm like, I'm Jake and this is Avalon and she's 3 months and I'm 51. And one of the girls like totally tatted up, and excuse my French, you can edit this out if you want. Because she's like, holy fuck. And we just started to laugh. And I said, yeah, I know, man. And she was the one who ended up being like one of my besties. And it was just so much fun. Yeah, absolutely. It's like, hey, listen, I don't blame you. I know.
Whoa.
But yeah, it's been an incredible journey. And
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I have no regrets.
I love that. Do you have anything else you want to add about your pregnancy or birth?
No, I just think that I really wanted things to happen fast.
Mm-hmm.
And when they didn't, part of me was angry, part of me was sad. But looking back, Jamie, I truly believe that whatever path you are taking arms you with what you need to be a parent.
Mm-hmm.
If I would have had that little baby right away, I don't think I would have some of the amazing tools of patience and self-love and forgiveness and acceptance and open-fistedness and the ability to look back and go, okay, patience and all of the things that I think I learned as a human being, as a woman, that have positioned me to be a mom.
That's
so
perfect.
Trust the process and know, like that things are working out for you, however the answers come or don't come.
I love that.
Hmm.
You mentioned a little bit, you have another embryo. Tell us what you're going to do with that.
Yes, we have another embryo. It's a little girl. She's hanging out in New York City. Avalon tells anyone who will listen that her little sister is coming. So we would definitely be going the route of a surrogate for this little baby. And you've actually caught me at a time where we are literally discussing now and looking into some different agencies around the Atlanta area. So the plan is to go ahead and have this last embryo, it sounds like a Monday night movie, join us on this planet. I can't imagine not having her.
That's so exciting. And what has been your biggest challenge being pregnant at 51?
That's a really good question, because honestly, Jamie, I think the biggest challenge was emotional. And sometimes letting in the fear that was generated by the knowledge. I was banned by my husband from the internet. Yeah, and that's where my beliefs and my mindset and all of that came in and literally saved me from that. I think there's a lot of fear that's generated in childbirth in Western medicine. Like, our bodies are really designed to do incredible things.
Is there anything you'd recommend that would help prepare someone for pregnancy and birth over 40?
Yes. I would say be very clear in your mind about what your whys are. And don't let anyone convince you that your whys are not valid, because whatever your reasons are, they are right. Arm yourself and surround yourself with incredible specialists. And if that's not in your budget, believe that whatever you have access to is right for you. I cannot say enough about what preparing your mind for this journey can do and the importance of it. Without that, it would have been a terrifying experience. And I honestly don't believe that I would have had the results that I had with my little 5% success rate without that belief system and the daily practice of mindset, the daily practice. There wasn't a day, like I could show you my journals. I've got so many of them filled. And it is literally planting the seed in your mind and in your body that this is what is going to happen. And the body's saying, oh, okay.
You were choosing what to think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There was nothing more intentional than my being grateful and living in my mind with my goal achieved. I was going to be a mother in this situation. I was going to give birth to that child.
Beautiful. And what advice would you give yourself when you were pregnant if you could go back?
I think I gave that advice to myself while I was pregnant. When I look back now, I would just say, believe. There's Abraham Hicks is someone I love and follow. And she always says, everything is always working out for me. Everything is always working out for me. Everything is always working out for me. And if you believe that, then whatever road your body and your life take, you're okay with. And so I think there was a lot of worry, there was a lot of sadness, but looking back, just to say, it's going to be okay. Any way that it turns out is going to be right. And if you can keep that forefront, which I believe by transfer number 6, I had achieved that. But I think the kindness and in the beginning, there was a lot more force. And there's a saying that force negates. And, it's difficult, if you just relax, when you relax, then it happens. Well, we know, I know that when you're, especially in the beginning stages and things aren't going your way and you're not getting the results and you're going, and you're having to live your life and do your job and all the things on top of all of this that's going on, it's a little hard to relax. By the time I got to embryo 6, I was very much in the practice of the autosuggestion and the writing of the mantras and the meditating and the fertility jewelry and all of these things that grew and came about through the journey. That's what I would love to encourage people who are just starting out, that there is a way to take some of the stress off you by a daily practice of some of these methodologies and modalities of wellness and mindset that really change the game.
I love that. And where can we find more of you? Tell us about your book and your website and how you help other women.
Yes, what I offer women who are going down this path is everything that I would have loved as I went through this journey. When I move forward with this, I try and embody everything that would have, made things easier for me or would have been a really great, help during the time that I was getting pregnant. And also things that I did have, the support group that I did have. Sometimes it's hard when you're going through all the things to be able to think outside of the box, to be able to be creative about your care and, taking care of yourself. And I was really blessed to also at that same time be exposed to some people who had some great ideas. And so I love sharing that and helping bring relief to what can be a very stressful time.
Do you mind me asking what your roles are with your niece that y'all created?
For us, the questions that were asked of her were basically, how do you see yourself interacting with this creature? Because the problems arise at times with people who don't have those conversations. And when the baby is here, the egg donor will feel like they have say in disciplining the child, or I'm the mother as well. We agreed on the fact that it is the same as a organ transplant or a blood transfusion, that she did not give us a baby. She gave us a piece of biology that allowed us to create this life, and that her role is very much the role of a cousin. That's how they refer to each other. But Avalon knows very specifically that Savannah is the one who had that missing piece that mommy and daddy didn't have. She knows the story. And
Cool.
they have this ridiculous bond. It's
Yeah.
incredible when you see them together. They're just like, matter of fact, I'm at my folks right now, and Savannah's coming in on Thursday, and Avalon is just like counting the sleeps, and it's so incredible to see the two of them together. Yeah, there's never been an issue. They're very close.
Mhm.
And I think part of it is that we've been so transparent about everything. Avalon has known how she came into this world, and that's her connection to it.
Beautiful. Jake, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your story.
It has been an absolute pleasure, Jamie. Thank you so much for having me.